Hello, this is Brian Tumohotlane with Bistro Business Solutions. I'm going to do a small presentation regarding CCTV cameras. So essentially, a CCTV camera is a closed-circuit television system. Pretty much what it means is that there's a camera system that is going to record, and there's a monitor where it's going to project the picture that is being recorded. So essentially, CCTV can be split into two categories. There's wireless systems, which work independent of wires, and there are wired systems, which are your normal analog cameras. So essentially, in a CCTV system or a setup, you need a DVR where the information is going to be stored, or where the information is going to be changed from the camera to the monitor, so that you can be easily presented to us. So what it does is essentially change the activity that happens on the camera, and then make sure that we are able to understand it on the screen. So a DVR is essentially a device like a DSTV decoder, where you use to navigate to channels and all that. So pretty much you are going to be, let's say, playing back using the DVR. You are going to make settings on the DVR as to what you want exceptions to be on the camera. It can sound an alarm, it can send messages, you can basically view remotely. So essentially now I don't have a component to show you as a DVR, but let's see if this is a DVR. So the DVR is a box. It's not so big. It's pretty much, I could say maybe, what size can this be? Maybe as big as a yeah, it's a decoder size. It's a DSTV decoder size. So almost as big as a shoebox, but it's thin. It's not as broad as a box. So what it does, you connect the, let's say if this was the DVR, you would be connecting the cameras behind it if they are wired. So what you essentially need is to have a hard drive inside, which is going to have the information that is going to be stored inside your device. So pretty much if you want more time as to recording time, you'll have to have a bigger hard drive. So the bigger the hard drive, the longer the period you can store your evidence on the system. So essentially it depends on the channels. If maybe let's say these were channels, we have DVR starting from 4 channel, we have an 8, we have a 16, we have a 32, we also have a 64. So essentially they differ in terms of range, in terms of price range. So essentially what you would do is maybe scale up to how many cameras you need, then that will determine what kind of a DVR you can take. So essentially, let's say for example, with DVRs, there's an analog system, which is a system which uses a BNC connector. A BNC connector is something that looks like this one. So I'm not sure if you can see it there. So it looks like this, and then there's another type which is an IP camera, which uses a network cable. So the difference is only the connections. So but now essentially when it comes to price range, the network ones are slightly more expensive. And then now with the DVR you need a power source. Every component like a camera needs a power source. A power source is plugged in here for the camera to come up. So now this is a 20-meter range camera. So what it says is that it can focus up to a distance of 20 meters. And then there are bigger ones which can go for 70, not 70 actually, it's 40 meters. So it depends that the 40 meters ones you can also adjust the focus as to saying if the gate is very far away, you can essentially make it focus on the gate while it's far from the gate. So now this one you cannot adjust any focus. It's just plug and play. So what it can do, all the cameras have a motion detection feature. They have night vision. They have these small LEDs here, which are infrared LEDs. They don't have light per se, but they are essentially red at night. You can see that, okay, it has now switched to infrared. When it switches to infrared, the camera will be black and white. So now, essentially, there are other versions which are color views. The color view version is more of saying the camera has a light on it, which can act as what you call a light source for the camera, so that it can stay in color even at night. So essentially you can see the person who is moving around, what color of clothing they are wearing, because now it has the capability of staying like that. Other than that, if you don't want your cameras to go black and white, have enough light as possible where you put them, so that they cannot they are going to stay in color throughout. But as soon as the lights go out, it will stay black and white. So now, as much as we're speaking about power, a power supply with something would look like something like this. That's where you would be plugging all your camera power and everything that requires power in this case. So again, if you're using a smaller device, you will have a smaller power supply. If it's bigger cameras and more cameras, you'll have more channels. Essentially, if you look at this one, this is plus minus a 9-channel. It's meant for an 8-channel system. So one channel can be the DVR and the rest can be all cameras. So now, with cabling, you'll be looking at something as for the network cable, you use the RJ40 for what number is it? RJ45 connectors. So the RJ45 connectors essentially looks like this kind of connections here. So essentially means that all your cameras are going to be using network cables. So now essentially this is what we get. We crimp the wires, we put the connectors on, and then you have your cameras running. So with the IP cameras, you will have to have a switch. Essentially, if maybe your DVR does not have a port, you'll have a switch where you connect all the cameras and the switch connects to the DVR. So essentially now the only difference is price range. IP cameras are slightly expensive, but the analog ones are quite reasonable. So essentially there are also wireless cameras which are independent. The disadvantage on those ones is that you store information on a memory card which is inserted on the camera. If it's stolen, your evidence is gone. But now with a DVR mechanism, that if there is damage and everything, as long as the DVR is still intact, and then we are able to retrieve the evidence. Thank you.